City Council meeting is now in order for March the 23rd, 2023. Meetings are available to watch on our YouTube channels. You can search in the city of Bruceville-Eddy and click to the subscribed button. Please mute your phones and computers to avoid any interference during the meeting. I appreciate it. Number one, it's called to order. I want to greet everybody for being here. Pam Combs, our city secretary, Danielle McGruer, our court clerk / water, Chief Dorsey, our chief of police, Mr. Thomas Arnold, our code enforcer. Jean is our water specialist. And then to my right here, I have Councilman Prater and Councilman Bass, and to my left, I have Councilman Wiggins and Councilman McGruer and our city administrator, Kent Menton. So thank you all again for all being here. And at this time, it says down there it's for thank yous. And I want to give a big thank you to our city workers, our crew out there. Every day, they're fixing water leaks. And I mean, I'm talking not just digging a little hole in the ground and fixing something. I mean, I've gone out there 2 or 3 times and they have been in a deep hole where you couldn't even see their heads soaked in water from their heads to their toes in mud, trying to find these leaks. And they work every day like this. I mean, these guys are always working. If they're not fixing water leaks or trying to fix potholes in the roads, they get some praises from people and they get some bad praises from people. But I just want to thank them because the pay that they make, I couldn't do it. I'm sorry. These guys do a fabulous job, and I want to give thanks and praise to all of them. So that's what I wanted to say about that. Thank you. Okay, now if y'all would please stand for prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for everything that you do for us on a daily basis. For we know, Lord, without you, we couldn't even breathe the fresh air. We couldn't even take our first breath in life. Lord God, I pray that you'll continue to watch over the council members so that they can make good decisions and do to the best of their ability. We have a good council group, Lord, and I just want to continue to give praises to them also. Lord, I pray for the police department, our first responders, our fire department, and just everyone. Everyone here just always pulls together and helps each other out. We couldn't do it without them, Lord. Lord God, I pray for all of our citizens in Bruceville-Eddy that you'll continue to watch over them and to help them all through their sickness and stuff. And Lord, for the people that are very sick and going to doctors, I just pray that you reach down and touch these doctors and can give them the right medication to take care of them, Lord. I ask for all these things in the precious name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. You may have a seat. Already gave roll call, so we're just going to go straight to the community announcements. Does anybody have any community announcements they'd like to present to us? The only one I have is for April the 1st. Is going to be a citywide Easter egg hunt for the kids at the feed store. Lance Brown and a motorcycle group are putting together Easter eggs for the kids. And they're going to have auctions and sell tickets to their playgrounds. They're going to have bouncy houses. It's costing $5. And they're going to have bouncy houses and all kinds of things for them to do out there. And the proceeds that they do make, which from the food or whatever, is going to go to the Moore family. Bring your kids out. Everybody gets to hunt for free. There's going to be all kinds of eggs out there for all ages. So That's going to be a good thing for our community. Anybody else have anything they'd like to announce? Okay. Mr. Benton?
Thank you, Mayor. I had a couple other things. This weekend, March 25th, they're going to be having low-cost vaccinations and microchipping for dogs and cats out at the United Methodist Church from 12 to 3 p.m. This is not a city-sponsored event, but I just want to go ahead and mention it out there that our ordinances do require for dogs and cats to be microchipped and to have a rabies vaccination. In addition to that, the month of April, you're probably going to notice a little bit of a difference to your water, taste, smell. Bluebonnet is going to be conducting a chlorine burnout, so they're trying to get rid of a lot of extra bacteria in the system and get us ready for the summer months when we have that warmer weather. That should be wrapped up by the end of the month.
Do you have a question, Gene?
Yes, when Bluebonnet does theirs, we go ahead and change over to free chlorine at the same time, so we're not trying to battle their residuals. That's why we pick, when they do it, we'll do it. And it's, we can control our end, but we can't control how much Bluebonnet's in it.
Sure. Yep. Good point, Gene.
Thank
yes.
you,
So
sir.
we'll be conducting that annual maintenance as well at the same time, concurrent with Bluebonnet. So we should have all that wrapped up by the end of April. 4/15, we're planning a parade for the Moore family. That one's still tentative in the planning processes. And then in May, this date has been changed to May 20th, correct? Spring Fest. It was changed, I think, due to some other conflicting events going on. But that's all my events.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Also, there's the McNeil family is going to be in concert at the Methodist Church on Saturday.
Yes.
6:30 p.m.
Yes, the McNeil family.
And that's a free event, correct?
Yes.
It is love
Yes.
offering, yes.
Love
Yes.
off.
Anybody else have anything else they'd like to say about an event or anything that's coming up? Okay, we'll move on. Okay, number 3, citizens presentation. The city council welcomes public comments for the creation of anybody that wants to say something that is not on the agenda. And for tonight, we have one person, and that is Joyce McLaughlin. If you'd come up, please, ma'am. You'll have to get close to your mic. You can hold it in your hand, or you can
Okay.
get it close to your mouth.
Is it on?
It's on.
Okay. Let me hold it.
Yeah, just put it real close to your mouth, like you're going to be singing.
Okay. All right. Now I can hear me. Okay. My name is Joyce McLaughlin. I live at 604 Eagle Drive. I'm the pastor of Bethany Fellowship Church, and I would like to read a letter to the city council from our church. To whom it may concern, Bethany Fellowship Church would like to thank the Mayor, Linda Owens, City Administrator Kent Manton, and Councilman Richard Prater and Ricky Wiggins for their help and hard work at the fundraiser for young Terry Moore and the demolition of part of our building. No matter the contribution, whether it was the work of your hands, donation of meat, or helping to organize the event, we sincerely appreciate your help and support. We pray that God will richly bless you and multiply back to you many times over what you gave. Matthew 10:42 says, "And whoever gives to one of these little ones even a cup of cold water to drink, because he is my disciple, truly I say to you, he will not lose his reward." We at Bethany Fellowship again thank you and declare God's blessings over you. Sincerely, Pastor Joyce McLaughlin, Associate Pastor Faye Airy, Secretary Gail Wood, and our congregation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have a great city council, y'all.
Yes, we do. Thank you. Number 4, resolution authorizing consent for the creation of a municipal utility district. Council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action on Resolution 3-23-2023-1, petitioned by landowners for the authorization of consent to the creation of a municipal utility district within portions of the extraterritorial jurisdiction of the city limits of the city of Bruceville-Eddy.
All right, thank you, Mayor. On this one here, this municipal utility district, we do have the owner out here to speak and answer a few questions. Just wanted to put that out on the front end. But they are requesting, again, to have that portion of our ETJ included within their municipal utility district. I'll let Mr. Birdwell talk a little bit on that here in a few minutes. But Danielle, if you will go to the next slide. Okay, so as you can see here, there's a couple different options for council to consider. Number one, council can take no action, and so the MUD will not be authorized within our ETJ. The MUD will have to modify their legislative filing. We have option two, we can approve the consent as requested, and that's the resolution that's before you tonight. The MUD will be established in Bell County with the option to expand further on land that they own in Falls County at a later date should they desire to do this. And then option three, we could approve consent but modify it, ask for a revision to this resolution to eliminate, say, the portion of Falls County. The MUD would be established in Bell County once this resolution comes back before council, and they would have to seek additional consent should they want to expand that MUD further into our ETJ. So my current recommendation on this is none. I believe overall this will be a neutral impact to the city. There are a lot of pros and cons on both sides, but I'll leave it up to council to discuss and Mr. Birdwell to come up and speak.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Mr. Manton, thank you. You know, after I was here the other night, we were driving back home, you had a lot of good questions, and I felt like I didn't have a lot of good answers, but I was reminded of a story that our preacher in Austin told us several years ago. And he was home one afternoon, there was a knock on his door, and there was a young 5-year-old neighbor boy that knocked on the door, and he said, son, what can I help you with? What can I do? And he said, I'm selling tickets. You want to buy some? He said, well, what are the tickets for? He said, my sister's thing down at the school. And he said, well, what kind of thing is it? And the young man said, I don't know. He said, well, when is it? He said, I don't know. Well, how much are the tickets? He said, I don't know these things. I'm just selling tickets. Do you want to buy some? So I kind of feel like that young man. I don't know when this is going to take place. I don't know who's going to do it. But I do know that what we are doing is creating a financing vehicle so that at some point in the future, when the market dictates that it's ready, that the developer, whether it's us, and it probably won't be, but whether it's us or some qualified developer comes in with a development plan, there is a vehicle here whereby they can afford to develop the major infrastructure. The benefit to the city here, I see this really functioning more as a partnership in the future, whereby they can bring money to the city to help you also upgrade your water and wastewater treatment facilities and roads and other infrastructure. Am I making promises that that will happen? Absolutely not. I have no idea. I wish I had a good crystal ball, because it'd make this job a lot easier. But like that young man, I don't have a lot of answers to the questions tonight, but if you will offer your consent to allow us to at least include this portion of our property that is in Bell and ideally in Falls County. We're not even including Falls County at the moment in the legislative filing of this bill. We may annex it in later. And the only reason we didn't include it in the bill, we're dealing with Bell and McLennan counties both. We didn't want to add an additional county and additional jurisdiction at this point, not knowing whether we needed to bring it in later on or not. So anyway, with all that introduction, if I can attempt to answer some questions, I'll certainly do my best.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions?
I have a question.
Okay, Councilman Bass, make sure you're close to your mic, please.
Okay. I've read this resolution, and I'm fine with it, but I just want to know, did you consult with our city attorney before submitting this?
Yes, sir. I sent it over to them. I received no comments back from the city attorney on this one.
Okay. I just want to be sure before I say, yeah, go ahead, and then later, you know. Okay, that's fine with me.
Anybody else have any questions?
I'll make
I
a motion.
have
Mr.
one.
McGurr, if you get close to your mic.
Yeah, that's right. I keep leaning back and get slapped by her.
Yeah, you gotta get close to
Anyway,
your mic.
one question I had was, when we create this municipal, the MUD, there's going to be a 5-member temporary board of directors on this. And it says in
There will be a temporary board followed by a permanent board.
Right. But the temporary board actually has to include one person from the county it's in. Well, this is going to be in 3 counties. So you're going to have one from Falls, one from Bell, and one from McLennan.
Falls is not in it initially, so there would be one from Bell and one from McLennan.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. So because I think when we talked before, I said my concern is that we want some kind of representation on the board of directors from the city here at least.
Which I think would be fine.
Okay, okay. And that answers my question.
Anybody else have any questions? Mr. Wiggins?
No, I don't have a question,
Okay.
but
Make
I'm
the motion.
ready to make a motion.
All right.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we'll approve resolution 3-23-2023-1.
I'll second.
Okay, and Councilman Bass seconds that. Okay, all in favor? Unanimous. No, whoa, no, sorry. All opposed? Okay, 3 yea, 1 nay.
Was this option
Was it option,
It'd be
1,
option
2,
two.
3? Option 2.
2?
It was option
Okay.
2.
Well, I understand it.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes, the
Option two.
resolution as presented by the municipal utility district has been approved.
Okay.
3-1.
Okay, so,
Good.
Ms. Bass, thank you.
About 3 years ago, my wife and I moved from Austin. I was born and raised in Belton, but moved out to Austin in the late 60s. And a lot of my friends questioned, well, why are you leaving Austin? I said, well, after 52 years of living in Austin, we decided to move back to Texas.
Yeah.
That's true.
Bruceville-Eddy can help me underscore what I'm talking about. We
Yes,
do
sir.
appreciate so much the way y'all have received us. This is the Texas I grew up in. And,
Yes, sir.
And we thank you.
Well, thank you, sir.
And we do sincerely appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All right.
sir. Thank you for coming.
Okay, all right, okay, it is 6:17, and this meeting is now closed, so we can have a public hearing. And it is 6:17, and this public hearing is now open. Okay, public hearing, it says minor curfew ordinance. Council to hear public comments pertaining to creation and continuation of an ordinance regulating curfew hours for minors. So it's up to the public. Y'all have any questions about it? Or what y'all would like to see, or y'all want to stay with it like it is, or, I mean, y'all discuss this.
What is it now? What is the ordinance now?
So Joyce, would you mind coming up to the microphone on that one and just repeating that one so all the YouTube folks can hear it?
What is the ordinance now? What is it?
Sure. So we're really not changing a whole lot in the ordinance. Why we're bringing this to council tonight is because state statute says that municipalities, general municipalities, are required to review these every 3 years. Unfortunately, this minor ordinance has expired due to the lack of action, so it's currently not on our books. And Chief Dorsey will have some more comments on that one. But I think the timeline on that is what you're asking for, right? Okay.
Yes.
Let me bring that up. That's going to be, Chief, do you know that stuff off the top of your head? Do you want to speak
What
to
the
this?
timeline is?
Okay.
I'm waiting for it to come up.
Sunday through Thursday, it starts at 10 p.m. until 6 a.m.
Okay.
And then Fridays and Saturdays from 12:01 a.m. to 6 a.m. And then during the school week, Monday through Friday, during school hours, 8 a.m. to 3:40.
So just to reiterate that one for everybody online, that's 10 p.m. on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday until 6 a.m. And that's 12 a.m. in the morning till 6 a.m. on Friday and Saturday, giving folks a little extra wiggle room there. And then this is one we specifically changed to coincide with the new school hours, and that's 8 a.m. to 3:40 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
And that's for anybody under the age of 17,
Okay, okay.
okay? Yeah, anybody, more discussions about it, or don't talk about it, or?
Chief, you ready to come up and make your comments on this one?
Okay, is that going to be in the public hearing part, or is
Oh,
it?
no,
No,
you're right, you're right. I'm so
it's
sorry.
not ready for you yet, Chief.
Yes.
Okay, so, all right, we have no more questions. It is now 6:20, and the public hearing is closed. It is now 6:20, and we have restarted our council meeting. Chief, if you'd like to come up now and tell us what you have.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council, and welcome to all our citizens and guests tonight. Regarding the curfew ordinance for minors, like Mr. Manton said, it was an ordinance, I believe it originated in 2010, but due to the lack of renewing it every 3 years as required, it's fallen dormant and is no longer, currently an ordinance that we have. But I'd like to bring it up again and possibly have it reenacted tonight. For us at the police department, it's definitely an avenue for us to interact with minors, and I always grew up with hearing my parents, nothing good ever happens after midnight. So, if you're seeing, kiddos under 17 running around after midnight, it's probably nothing good.
Yeah, that's true.
So I am still a firm believer in that. But it also gives us an avenue to, make contact with the minor if we see them out. And the way we've done it in the past is, we'll make contact with them and offer them a ride home or get their parents to come out and pick them up. And normally, if it's a first-time offense, it's no issue. But then, if it's a repeated issue, then we may take a different avenue at that point. But it, just offers some protection and gives us an avenue to interact with minors if we need to. I just think safety is number one behind this ordinance, and it's definitely, I think, with safety in the forefront.
That's true.
So.
All right, yeah, as it said here, number 7, minor curfew ordinance. Council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action on ordinance 03-23-2023-1 in enacting a curfew for minors, establishing penalties for violation, including in the imposition of criminal liability upon parents, guardians, or establishment owners who permit said violence. So this will be that if they are out and they do, yes, sir. Okay.
So we are, I'll address that one. I'm welcome to any comments or suggestions on that one.
Okay. Councilman Wiggins, I think you had your hand up.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Right now, have we had any issues lately or in the past that you're aware of?
We have in the past, yes, sir. To be honest with you, we have, if to my forefront that this was no longer an ordinance that we have, that we can enforce. We have enforced this in the past.
Right. On another note, I looked up 5 a.m. any day of the week. Moody's is 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. Monday through Friday, 12:01 a.m. to 6 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, and Temple's and McGregor's both are Sunday through Thursday is 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. and then Friday and Saturday midnight 01 to 6 a.m. I just to me, I would like to see us change that 10 p.m. to 11.
Me too.
And then I'd also like to, I don't see the need to have that section C in there, which is 8 a.m. till 3:40 p.m. I just, I just don't see the need for that. I mean,
Okay, all right. All right,
that's
Mr.
just my thoughts.
Councilman Prater, you was next.
I am 100% against this. We have no business telling
Closer
parents-
to your mic, sir.
We have no business telling parents when their kids can leave the house. Me, I was working full-time jobs when I was 15 years in this town and be a good kid and be held that just because I'm out late at night, because I work 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, 2 or 3 different jobs. My mother didn't tell me to go work. I did it myself. And I wouldn't want a kid. That's just like me. You say nothing good happens after midnight. I worked all my life after midnight, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And I wouldn't want to be held to the same standard as this crook over here that's breaking into buildings and stuff. I wouldn't want some cop coming to talk to me because I'm out working. I wouldn't want to be held to that standard. I wouldn't want my kid to be held. That's my business. If I catch my kid out after hours, I'm going to handle that. I don't think we should be telling parents how they're, that's not what government's raised about. That's not what government's supposed to be doing. The parents are supposed to be getting in these kids. It's their responsibility. It's not ours. I'm 100% against this. We shouldn't be telling parents how to raise our kids,
Right.
period.
Councilman McGruer?
It's ridiculous.
Okay, I think when you look at the ordinance that they're talking about, some of the issues that Richard brought up are already addressed within the ordinance, where if they have a legitimate reason to be out, they have a job or something like that, then they're exempted from this. There's an exemption in there that allows for people that are working or attending certain public functions because they're working with a responsible adult. When you're 15, 16, and 17, you're not going to be owning a business and out there at 2 o'clock in the morning with your business. This ordinance gives teeth to the police for the person who's out there who doesn't have a legitimate reason for being out there. They're going around looking for trouble in the shadows as opposed to the Richard Praters and Ricky Wiggins of the community that are actually out there doing work. And like I said, the ordinance gives you the opportunity to have an exception. Your parents say it's okay for you to be out there. It puts the responsibility back on the parents to say it's okay for them to do this. There's nothing wrong with being stopped out there when they're young like this. Really what they're looking for is if you're in an area where you do find a high incident of vandalism or something like this, they at least have the opportunity to stop this individual to find out what they're doing. And so if they don't have a legitimate reason to come out, they can't say my parents said this is okay, then they have another recourse to contact the parent. As far as the daytime issue, it's really, that is a truancy aspect of the ordinance. If during school hours, you're out wandering around in the streets of Bruceville and that, they have an ability to stop you and find out, did your parents say it was okay for you to be out here? Well, I'm going home right now. I'm headed home. Fine. Then you've got a legitimate reason to be going from school to home. You can have an excuse for that. What you're doing, you're not going to criminalize the good kid. You're going to catch the criminal kid who's out there vandalizing and doing damage to things or getting into things they have no business getting into. So right now, the police have absolutely no teeth to stop and do anything with minors that they find out there in these situations, okay? This gives them the teeth. It doesn't mean they're going to go out there rounding up kids, get their lasso out and round them up, okay? But it does give them the ability to take and
take some kind of action to say this kid's supposed to be here.
Okay, I'd like to
Okay,
speak back to
okay,
it.
Councilman Wiggins,
Okay.
and then I'll be right back with you.
I don't totally disagree with Richard. I mean, when I first read this, and I know it's been here for a long time, I guess I just wasn't aware of it. That's the first thing I thought too. But when you look under the defenses, it's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 defenses. So that's 9 instances that, like Mr. McGrew said, that if you're working, going to a job, or if you're going, you know, to the store or something, there's cases here to cover that, where you can go out. But my case in point about the daytime hours, school hours, I'll say, is, you know what, if Temple, Troy, McGregor, and Moody don't have that, I'm sure they've got a lot worse kids, many more kids than we do, and we should be able to get by with it and be okay. If those cities are okay with it, then we should be.
Okay. Okay, Councilman Prater, you had another question?
Yeah, if they would have called my mom, she wouldn't even know I left the house. And I'd have been in trouble and she'd have been fined. That's neither here or there. But would you be okay with stopping an adult that's walking down the service road? Would you be okay with stopping him and making him tell you who he is and what he's doing out there? Is that what the Constitution says? That you can just stop anybody that you want to and say, hey, I need your ID. Are you allowed to do that? Or they have to be doing something criminal
Right.
for you to
I mean, we
get
could do,
the ID.
you know, if I see someone walking, I would normally do like a welfare, hey, are you okay? Do you need, you know, give them a ride, you know, do a welfare check on them. But if there's no criminal offense, you ask them for their ID and they tell you to pound sand, then that's their right.
That's right, because it's in the
that's the right.
Constitution, right? That they're allowed to walk freely. And the kids should have the same, it's the parents' job to make sure that kid stays in the house. My kids don't walk the streets and get into trouble.
Okay.
I just don't
have a question
understand.
from the audience.
If we look at society in general right now, parents don't have a lot of control over their kids or take time to. They let them go. So this is a way to kind of reel the kids in when the parents don't give a crap.
Good point, sir. Mr. McGrew, you had one more question, then we're going to move on.
To address two things. One, police officers often stop people when they see them in areas where you don't normally see traffic, normal foot traffic. Do they accost them? No. But it's not uncommon for a police officer to pull up and say, how you doing? What's your name? I'm Chief Dorsey. I don't recognize you from town. You have an open conversation with the individual, okay, and see where that leads you in that conversation. But you are stopping that individual to try and identify who that individual is and why are you walking around in my town? Did you just move here? I haven't seen you around town. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because we do get strangers coming through the town here. They do walk down that frontage road and they are walking around our town. We want to know who they are, so if something happens, we have somebody to kind of look back on and say, I stopped and talked to this guy last night right in this area here. I wonder if he saw anything. You know what I'm saying? But we do, I know I did as a police officer, stop people, you'll have a conversation. You're not, hey, give me your ID card up against the car, I'm going to shake you down. No, it's not going to, that happens in movies. It doesn't happen in real life. Real life, you're just trying to inquire to find out who this person is and why are you in my town here. Especially this town, when you can pretty much count all the people in town on one hand. If you don't recognize them, they may not be from here.
I just don't think it's our job to tell them.
That's part of that. But most important thing is we have to have some ability for the police to be able to make contact. And addressing your issue of a parent saying, you know, I have no idea where my child is. I don't know, when I was raised, and when I raised my daughter, unfortunately being raised by a cop, you know where she's at all the time. But somebody were to call me and say she's wandering around in an alley somewhere behind the Family Life Center or something like this, yeah, we're gonna have a conversation. Why were you there? And it better be good, you know? And a parent who's not gonna be like that, then the city has an obligation to protect the child, but most importantly, the city, because children that don't have any control on them find things to do.
Okay, Joyce, you had a question?
I just have a comment.
Okay, what's your comment, hon?
She need to come to Mike.
Come to your mic so we can hear
greatly
you.
appreciate it, yes.
Well, we have to understand that our society has changed. And that I'd love to keep Bruceville-Eddy a nice, small, sweet country town, but we got to live in the real world too. And most parents today do not parent like when we were growing up. And they let their children run wild and do things they shouldn't be doing. I don't want a kid coming on my property, and I've had this happen, and tear something up, or get into my sheds, or try and break into my car. And I've had all those things happen at night, right here on Eagle Drive. And so having a city ordinance curfew for kids, and 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, it doesn't matter. Kids need to be at home, or they need to be at work, and they need to be under supervision of an adult in the night hours of some kind. And we need to allow our, just as a citizen, we need to allow our police officers to be able to protect our property from children that are not being parented the way that, that we grew up. It's sad, but it's just the way it is now. So I think this is a good thing, and other cities have this ordinance all around us. And we've had it before, and so it doesn't seem to be a problem, And actually, I think it helps parents out, that have to work and can't be at home, and their kids, they got to work the night shift or something. And I think it actually helps some of those parents out, that they know, hey, if my kid's out there doing something they ain't supposed to, police officer's going to bring him home safe.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Chief, you had something you wanted to say?
Just a couple quick little things. As far as this ordinance goes, I mean, I just consider it, a tool on our tool belt. If we do encounter a juvenile outside of curfew hours, 9 times out of 10, we can find out if they're acting under a legitimate reason or if they're up to no good probably within the first 5 minutes of our encounter or less. If you ask them, hey, where you going? Oh, I'm going over to my friend's house. Well, who's your friend? Or where does he live? That's a good indicator they're up to no good. But, if they're going to work or like Mr. Prater said, if they're trying to make a living or support their family or, staying out of trouble by having a job, then, then no worries. Or, we can, if they're out on a legitimate reason, we could verify with the parent, and then, send them on their way. The other thing too is, sometimes, the younger generation, they don't respect, we've encountered it. I've encountered it very recently that, 13, 14-year-old, they have no respect for their parents.
That's true.
And they have no respect for their authority, but then they want us to get involved, and then they'll listen to us, or they'll comprehend they'll pick up what we're putting down, and, it sometimes will bring a resolution. So, I mean, they may not respect the authority figures at home, but, they could respect, an officers. So, that's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Wiggins?
One other thing, we all can be the best parents you can be and have great kids. But sometimes them kids, yeah, they're in there in their room. They might open that old window and slip out. You don't ever know,
Somebody want to make a motion?
And we can, there's section 6 of this ordinance that gives the city council right to modify it, abolish it, or at any given time. But I still, to me, like I said, these other cities, Troy, Moody, Temple, and McGregor, they don't need that 8 a.m. to 3:40 in our case. And they've
That's
got
just
kids
truancy, I
just as
think.
bad. And I would like to extend it to 11 p.m. instead of 10. That gives them another hour. I don't think it's too bad. That'd kind of be my recommendation, is I'd be okay with it if we would extend it to 11 p.m. On what it currently says, and do away with that section C.
Okay, I'm gonna say something on that, and then I'll let you
Okay.
speak. On number 3, or C, it's kind of like truancy. I mean, that's the hours, and the kids, they left home to go to school, as far as the parents know, but then they didn't go to the school. They made a block, and they went around, and they're doing their thing. So from those times, those kids need to be stopped and, either taken home or taken to the school, and let the school handle it or their parents handle it. Yeah, I agree with that part. Yes, ma'am?
My question would be, do these other school districts have truancy laws separate
Other,
apart from their
yeah.
curfew ordinance?
Yeah.
I
I'm
don't
not sure.
know. We didn't check on that.
Yes, probably.
Yeah, they have a truancy law.
They may have a truancy law separate and apart from the ordinance for curfew.
Yeah.
We don't know that.
Yeah, they have alternative schools there, over there in Temple, so they have a truancy clause.
Had that for the minors. I didn't go to school.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, Chief, you had one more thing, and then
Yes,
we're gonna
ma'am,
go
just
to-
real quick,
to take
two
action.
two things. On the school hours, I mean, we could amend it to say if it applies to a minor that's actively enrolled in Bruceville-Eddy ISD. I know truancy cases and truancy laws are more involved and is a longer process where, we could apply this immediately if we needed to. So it could give us, a resolve immediately versus, something that's going to take a lot longer to work out, such as a truancy issue or case. The only other thing I was going to say was, I attend all our municipal court dates when the judge is here, whenever we have our court. And from the last few sessions, when juveniles have come to court and appeared in front of the judge, instead of imposing a fine, and not every time, but more often than not, the judge, he understands that, if a minor gets fined, most likely the parent's going to pay for it. But what our judge likes to do is impose community service hours. So that way the juvenile's able to, I guess, face a punishment or consequence that they're actually going to have to work towards and accomplish by doing community service versus being imposed a fine and their parent, more than likely pay for it and then.
Let the kids pay for it.
Right.
Yeah, in truancy. Okay, all right. Yes, ma'am.
One more comment. He said, for the ones that are currently enrolled in Bruceville-Eddy, what about the minors that are in our city from 8 to 3:40 that are enrolled and they're up to no good? This doesn't,
Well, we can make it go either way.
well, I'm just asking the question.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if they're, say, 16 years old and their parents have taken them completely out of school, is that what you're talking about, or something, and they're just wandering the streets? And they're not enrolled in school? Yeah, yeah. We should have, the curfew should be somewhere for them too,
Well, I mean, it's covered.
It's covered under
Yeah,
that.
well, yeah, under that section C, it doesn't specify people in school.
Well, he had just mentioned maybe making it if you're currently enrolled, and I'm just
Oh.
asking the
Oh,
question.
yeah, for any
Say
any
maybe
child,
Any student,
Any-
or any minor
yes, any minor.
younger than 17
Yeah.
in
Okay,
those hours.
all right,
This-
thank you.
Yeah, this could be, I mean, it could be people that's homeschooled
Yeah,
and they're out.
yeah. Okay, do we have a motion on here? Anybody wanna make a
I'll
motion? Okay, Mr. Conley
do-
Bass?
I do have one question first. Did you, Ricky, did you want it to amend the time from
10 to 11,
10,
Amended. Yeah, it was
to
10
11.
and he wants to make it 11, which I
giving
think
them
is
extra hour?
good. Yeah.
on that, well, I don't know if you have this, but it's on that section A. It says 10 PM on any Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Thursday. Change it to read 11 PM.
Well, personally, I think if a kid's in school or if he has a job, he should be home by 10 o'clock. So I'll make a motion to,
Well, I was just trying to give them an hour.
yeah, I see, but,
Trying to be somewhat lenient.
Takes that long to get his girlfriend
Yeah,
home.
I mean, being these other towns are. So sure,
Well-
not as
All
bad
right,
as
so
them.
you're gonna make a motion?
yeah, I'll make a motion to approve,
Ordinance
this, ordinance, let's see, what's the number?
03,
03-23-2023-1 for 10 o'clock.
for 10 o'clock.
I'll second that.
Okay, and Mr. McGurr second that? Okay, all in favor? 1, 2, all opposed? Okay, I got 2 for and 2 opposed, so I think we need a curfew, so I say we're gonna do it.
Good, yeah,
You're saying 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock, yeah.
10 o'clock.
That's school nights, right?
Yeah, I figure
That's
they
correct.
don't have any
Weekdays.
business being
School
out on
nights.
school
Yes, ma'am.
It's
night.
only on school nights, 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
On weekends, it's later. Okay, so, we got that. I haven't had to do that since I've been doing this for over a year and a half. My first time to have to vote, get to vote.
it's fun, it's
Yay.
fun, isn't it?
They may throw oranges at me or tomatoes when I walk outside, but got it passed. Okay, it is passed. All right, number 8, Chief, you might as well just keep standing there and give us your report.
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to share a police report for February 2023. For calls for service, we had 113. Reports to include arrest, offense, and incident, we had a total of 8. Crash reports, total of 1. Under citations and warnings, total 121, breaks down to 81 citations and 40 warnings. Some of our other activities for the month of February, we conducted 116 security checks. We had 26 school zone enforcement activities and 56 directed traffic enforcement activities. I'd also like to share Officer Basie, our SRO, our school resource officer, his report for February over at the school. Calls for service, he had 1, security checks, 216, citations and warnings, 2 citations and 3 warnings. And we also conducted a 1 canine check at the school district for the month. The only other thing I'd like to share with y'all tonight, we do have a new member joining our team on Monday, March 27th. We'll be welcoming Officer Ruth Irwin to our police department, and she'll begin her field training starting Monday. So I'd like to go ahead and have her come up, and we can do her oath of office.
And what's his last name? Bruce
Ruth Irwin.
Owens?
Irwin.
Pronounce her last name again.
E-R-W-I-N.
Oh, Irwin.
You can come on up, ma'am. I, Ruth Irwin,
I, Ruth Irwin,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of patrol officer
the duties of patrol officer
for the state of Texas
for the state of Texas
and the city of Bruceville-Eddy,
and the city of Bruceville-Eddy,
and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state
and of this state
and of this city,
and of this city,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. thank y'all. I'm not sure if she's going to stick around, but y'all are welcome to, if you decide to stay around, y'all are welcome to meet her, and if y'all have any questions for her, welcome those, so, but thank y'all.
I have one question. Where does she live? Where do you live?
Oh, yes, sir, I'm sorry. She's going to be coming from, she previously worked at TSTC, Texas State Technical College Police Department, and she has about 2 years patrol experience.
She lives in
Waco.
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 All right, thank y'all.
Just wondering.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Gene, you want to give your public's work report?
Okay. So on the service order report, I had her change it up to go from the 1st of February to the end of February. So everything on here is a February report. It's not half of February, half of March. Next one will be all of March. So that, with that said, is, 13 graphs, 10 leaks, 46 turnoffs, for non-payment, and so between getting that done, and then we did get over and do some patching. I think y'all have a copy of that also.
Yeah.
And water loss report. Y'all get a copy of that? Look better?
Yes.
So we're jumping. I mean, I read meters today. While I was reading meters, they fixed a leak in Falls County. As soon as we got through, we were getting calls for turn-ons, but we had 2 leaks we wanted to get fixed that we'd put off for 2 days because it'd been raining. But, as soon as they pop up, we're jumping on them.
Appreciate that.
Mr. Wiggins, you want
Yes, I'd like to say something on that, on your report,
Uh-huh.
on the non-payment turn-off.
Yes, sir.
It shows 0. And
Well-
last month we showed 33. Is that
Well,
correct?
it's, I see it over here to the right.
Total
well,
new,
wait. February,
total completed, and total
Did we
new.
do?
Okay, you showing 46?
right,
No? Who said no?
total new over here to the right, it says 46 non-payment turnoffs. But those were probably, when we did them, they probably got entered the next day on the 1st of the month instead of the end of the month because it was a short month. It's the only thing I know.
February was messed up for disconnects. We actually didn't do any disconnects for the month of February because of the time crunch. We actually didn't send the guys out, so we ran the report for the late fees and things, but we didn't actually get a chance to
cutoffs?
do, to do cutoffs.
Yeah.
Okay, because it shows 0.
Right.
We have the work orders
Yeah.
because of that's how we get the late fees onto the
Right.
work orders,
Yeah.
and again,
Yeah, they was,
understanding that I'm still learning the water side of things.
yeah, there were no cutoffs for February.
Okay, and that's, I don't understand this thing, I'm just reading off, but, that's,
Okay. And then on the water report, usage and loss report, well, I see that, water loss is down from last month's report, which was 9,570,490 gallons to 5,610,888 gallons. So that's a difference of 3,959,602 gallons. Improvement.
right,
So with a percentage from last month was 33.65 to 25.02. So that's an 8.63% improvement. And
Right.
also noticed several streets that were patched in February.
right,
So I want to tell you guys, you did a great job here.
Amen.
all right.
Working on the water leaks, you got them down, reduced their loss, and you got a lot of streets fixed. So
Right.
thank y'all very much.
And just so you're aware too, now, like we fixed 6 leaks on Franklin at one time, in one day. It was caller after caller. But before, I would get one work order and put on there 7 leaks. No more. I put in a work order for each leak that we do. That way there's a trail showing that we fixed 7 leaks at that area on that day.
And this
You know.
was on behalf of Gene. That is something that was recommended to us already by MRB Group, so we can have a better understanding of how many leaks we're having system wide and where. We're putting the GPS coordinates for each leak on the work orders now, so that way we can come back and say these are definitely our problem lines that need to be upgraded in the future.
Yes.
One other thing is, you talked about Franklin, it makes me think, there at that little bridge right there past Janice's house, there's water down there, and as
That-
dry as it is, I mean, I wouldn't
Right.
think there should
Well,
be water there.
We've gotten that, it's coming from the right-hand side going up. Because I can see water running through the Tin Horn across into the creek down past Janice. So it's on that 2-inch somewhere. We've already dug in that creek once, and then it started raining. Well, I've got to let that creek dry out some more to be able to get the equipment down in there. Because I don't have a problem going in there and digging, finding a 2-inch, hitting it, and fixing it, you know, if that's where the leak's at. There's something there, I do agree. And that's what got us to find the other 7 leaks that we fixed in that one day over there.
But as dry as it was, and it's still pretty dry, but as dry as it was, and then the water just standing there.
Right.
Something, and
There-
you said it was, actually, when you looked at it, you said it was flowing.
Right, I know it's flowing from the 2-inch side across the road. It's
Okay.
not on the 10-inch side because it's not coming under the Tin Horns, coming back over and going back down. So it's coming from the 2-inch side, flowing under. Johnny got in there and dug. I mean, if you go by there and look at it, you can see where we just tore up that creek area, trying to pinpoint it. So the only next option, if we can't find it, is to just dig it until we hit it, fix it. Hopefully we
Right.
got it. If not, we know, leave it open.
Well, I
But-
mean, if you're waiting on that creek to dry up.
No,
if
it's
the water
not-
leak is there, it'll never dry.
Well, no, that's the problem is the other day when it rained and stuff, I don't want to put that tractor in that soft dirt until some of that starts drying up above where the leak's possibly at.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you. All right. Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right, thank you, Gene.
Anything else?
I have
Okay,
a question.
Conley Bass?
About 3, 4, 5 years ago, you know, we had water leak then. It was,
Uh-huh.
and did the city purchase or rent or something a device, kind of like a meter, like say if you suspect there's a big water leak out in Falls County, you can come back on the main line and that thing clamps or attaches to the pipe and it tells you how many gallons of water.
No.
Y'all never did get one of those?
The only thing I'd been told that we could do was find, say, 451 area, which goes all the way out 451, 452, back over to 1239.
Yeah.
We could find that and cut that line, put a master meter on it, and then take everybody's usage in that area
Yeah.
to compare it with what that reading is, and that'll pinpoint. But Falls County's getting a lot better. I've had gentlemen on 436 Old Bruceville Road clear his fence line up. I can see where my water line's at. They've done that at the end of 451, where we would have to drive cross country looking for a leak. Now, when I read meters, I could see they're putting a new fence up. I can drive right by it and see it. So if more people would do that out there, we could see them.
Yeah, if
But-
the usage is a lot less than the water that went through there, you know there's a leak somewhere.
Right. But, you know, we had one on County Road 440. If y'all know that road, about 10, 11 years ago, they built that road up right there by Miracles, where it used to go down and come up. Well, they put 3 big tin horns in there. Johnny got a call last Monday, I believe it was, one day last week,
Yeah.
sinkhole in the road. So we go out there, we barricaded off because it's getting dark. It was about 12 foot deep. It had been leaking so long there was no dirt around it, and it did not surface. It come out the side and was running down the creek bed.
Yeah,
So I don't know how long it had been leaking
yeah.
until it eroded out.
Yeah.
I'll address Mr. Bass as well. MRB Group, we talked with them about this as well. They mentioned that they do have the ability to help out with water loss audits, and they can bring out master meters for us and help us isolate some of those lines that may be losing more water than others. So just something to keep in
You
mind.
know there's a leak, but you don't know where, well, you can start looking, nothing else, get
That's
on
correct.
horseback and go out through the pasture
Yeah,
where some of
well,
our lines
and
are like
That's what
that.
our new engineer.
And that's
is
what,
gonna do.
that's what Calvin did over on Franklin.
Yeah,
He got from that creek area where the solar farm is and walked all the way up to Wade Drive, and every wet spot he flagged it, and there's like 7 of them out there, which may not have been very big. They weren't flowing a lot of water, but there were 7 leaks.
7 leaks.
The more you got down to it, the worse it was.
yeah.
We're going to have to come at this with a coordinated approach.
Yes.
You know, engaging with engineers, having our guys walk those lines. I know you're already out there doing that, driving around, and then the citizens. I know I mentioned this last time too, but those reports, if you see a lot of standing water, something's usually not up with that, especially if it's been a while since a rain. So we really do appreciate those
Yeah,
reports.
if you see
'cause we
ducks
can
out
come
there
and look.
swimming around somewhere, if you see ducks out there, there was a leak.
Of course, another problem we have here is it's so rocky in places,
Right.
and water, if it's leaking, it can go down in cracks and crevices, and you won't even see it.
Called
Right.
sinkholes.
We have walked
Yeah,
from the railroad trestle on First Street in that creek back over to Bruce Street, checking any kind of water we saw running in case there was a cross-country line. Then we walked from the railroad trestle to North Old Bruceville in that creek. So, you know, we've been out there looking. It's just, you know, where?
yeah.
You run out of spaces to look sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Thank you, Gene, very much.
Thank you.
Okay, engineers report. You want to do that for Mr.?
I'll take care of this one, yes.
Okay.
So tonight, we just have a report from Tabor and Associates. So we're still waiting on USDA Rural Development to issue those closing instructions and authorize the project for the sewer to bid. And then number 2, Tabor Associates Incorporated received authorization from the city of Bruceville-Eddy on February 28th, 2023 to prepare and submit the renewal application to TCEQ on or before July 23rd, 2023. So they're currently working on that discharge permit renewal.
Okay, good. All right. Community Development Report, Thomas Arnold. In other words, our code enforcer.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Report for February, number of code enforcement cases, the start of the month with 101 active cases. I was able to close 39 of those. I did not start any new cases for the month of February. Current active cases, 62. Numbers and types of cases vary from dangerous buildings all the way down to just rubbish. Most of my high grass cases were closed, but they're starting back up, grass season. Building permits issued, 5 building permits, 3 burn permits. We had a total of 7 inspections, and I put in a total of 10 hours for facility maintenance. Any questions, concerns?
Okay, no, sir?
Thomas,
Thank
did you want to address some of those things that you have on the horizon as well?
Yes, I have a few projects coming up in the next council meeting or 2. Rental registration ordinance, I'm hoping to implement, and I have revised the permit fees and inspection schedule for your viewing pleasure. Just a few things that'll be coming up next month, probably.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
All right, thank you, Mr. Arnold. Okay, City Administrator's report, Kent?
Mayor and Council, thank you once again. So tonight, you'll be considering a bond ordinance or ordinance for certificate of obligation to be issued for the sewer system. We'll get into more of that a little bit later. Also, just so everybody knows, Mayor Owens and I, we've requested an official meeting with USDA, their regional and state office. We're looking to meet with Tabor and Associates as well as the CEO of a company called BVRT to further discuss feasibility for a public-private partnership for the wastewater treatment plant project. We are waiting to hear back on potential dates for this meeting before moving forward with the conversation. Ultimately, what we're trying to do here is we know this sewer project is going to be a little bit underfunded. So we're coming up with different contingencies to address that. USDA has assured us that there is more money to pull from them. However, I want to be able to bring several different options to council for consideration, all with their individual pros and cons. On the grant updates front, so I did have an update to what you were seeing in your city administrator's report. We were currently working with about 3 holdouts on the community development block grant that we just couldn't get contact with in order to complete the survey. Between Mayor Owens and I, and thank you so much, Mayor, for getting out there and hitting the streets after hours to do this, we were able to get in contact with all 3 of those folks, and I'm proud to say that we have met the threshold for low to moderate income on this project. So we will be submitting an application for the block grant to include that water line replacement in between 3rd and 4th Street. So. Texas Department of Agriculture did extend that deadline, so we're probably looking at a May application date for that, but more to come. And then on another note here, I just wanted to mention that we've engaged with 5M Associates and TxDOT. We actually had a meeting with them on 3/3, myself, Pam, and the mayor, to talk about our transportation alternatives preliminary grant application. So we haven't actually submitted the application. We were just invited to submit a preliminary application, basically just kind of a, hey, this is a good idea, we think, would you be willing to consider it? The meeting went pretty well. They gave us some tips on what they thought might be a good to kind of bolden up our application should we be invited to actually apply. And I think they were really interested. They thought our sidewalk project that would extend from downtown Eddy to the schools had some merit. However, we won't know if we're actually invited to apply for this until, I think, next week. I think they said March 27th, so it should be right around the corner. One thing to note on this one, so Bruceville-Eddy is eligible for 100% funding on this. However, it would be a federal reimbursement grant. So come budget cycle time, we would need to set aside some of the money to actually pay for this and then claim reimbursement through the invoicing system through the federal government.
Do you have an idea of the estimate for cost?
I do not remember the total cost on this project, but it was pretty significant for a sidewalk project. I think it was over $3 million total or so. But of course, we would pay that out. We would have the money. We would pay that out. We would ask for reimbursement, and I've worked with a state reimbursement grant before as well, so I kind of understand the process on that one. But it comes in pretty regularly, and hopefully we shouldn't have too many issues with that. This is a grant that's, of course, used across the United States. So, any other questions on that one? No? Springfest. So I kind of talked a little bit about that one, but if anybody wants to contribute or volunteer for that one, Ms. Cherie McGruer is available. She's taking the lead. The McGruer family is taking the lead on that one. Like I said, Springfest has moved to 5/20/2023.
True. One question on that. Joyce was out of town, and she went to Israel. And while she was in Israel, we volunteered her on a lot of things. So just be careful when you're not showing up, because we will volunteer you on something. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
No worries. All right. So I just wanted to mention a big kudos to Esther and the ladies on the front end, Danielle and Laura, for implementing our new credit card payment system. I know we had some confusion out there with some customers, but ultimately the system transfer to Paya, to the payment group as they're called, was very successful. Right now we're able to take credit cards in-house, which is a huge win. And we're also seeing, our customers are seeing some more features. They're able to actually see the amount that they owe for the month as they're paying, so that's a big win. And then we're seeing decreased processing costs. Yes, there still is a cost associated with taking these credit cards. Ultimately, this is a cost that everybody has to pay every time that a credit card is used, right? When you go to the restaurant, you swipe that card, the restaurant has to pay those fees, right? But they include that all in their services. We're not doing that. That's not the way we do it. We don't include that in our water rate. So we give you the option of saying, you want to pay by credit card? Okay, this company charges this standard rate for your processing. If you're not interested in paying by credit card, more than welcome to do an ACH draft or do a check as well. We just want to be able to deliver as many options as possible to our customers to pay the way they want to pay. And then I just wanted to note on this one, we had budgeted $2,000 for implementation this year. I'm happy to say that we have not had any out-of-pocket expenses. We already had the integration set up with our current billing system, so that's a big win on that one. On the development front, on 2/15/2023, Mayor Pam and I, we met with developers who are wanting to develop the old James construction site in Falls County. Creed plans on building a truck stop at this location with an RV park that would go around the pond, the detention pond site that's currently there. They're looking at short-term folks for coming in on the RV site and kind of have a synergistic effect between the truck stop and the RV park. We haven't had any plat submissions or zoning change requests or anything like that come down the line at this point. Meanwhile, not to get this confused, there is another truck stop that is also moving through the process right next door in Falls County on land right to the north of that, still right next to the underpass that goes under I-35. On this one, we have had some initial staff conferences. However, we still have not received a plat application from them as well. However, we did meet with the general contractor this week. He came in with a few questions, just kind of wanted to touch base with us, ask about permitting in general, and introduce himself. So it looks like they will be moving forward with that at some point, but I guess maybe the market might dictate. CEFCO, we haven't heard from them since our last meeting, but he did mention that they're beginning talks with TxDOT as well as BEISD for the vehicle access on and off the frontage road and onto Miracle Lane. A few other aspects I wanted to just point out. So I do have on the agenda a little bit further. I plan on attending a Texas City Managers Conference in Allen, should the council grant that consent. Some of the agenda items that we'll be talking about: strategic planning for cities, leadership in general, and then just some issues, kind of pertaining to small cities, dealing with, revenue shortages, stretching the budget out as most as we can, trying to make your dollars go as far as they can. So I think it's a worthwhile adventure. And then I'll just go ahead and mention on this one, I plan on staying with the in-laws. It's in Allen, so all you got to pay for is that registration fee and my time out of the office, and we should be good to go. Next, KHT Waco, the folks who installed this sound system, they came out at the mayor's request earlier this week. The technician that we had prior mentioned a few things about the way the system was set up that I guess didn't really hold true. So we've implemented some changes here to try to get ourselves speaking more directly into the microphones. That way everybody on YouTube can fully hear us. But at the meantime, we're also going to be asking for some quotes for some changes to the mics to allow more pickup. That way you don't have to be right on top of the mic to speak into it, but can kind of move your head back and forth as is natural. We're also going to look at some quotes to have some lapel clips as well, which would kind of cut out the, need to have to lean in all the time. And then we're also going to be
looking... You just have to turn them off when you go to the restroom.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Good point. There'd be a learning curve to that one, wouldn't there? Yes, I didn't even think about that one. We're also going to be receiving quotes for wired push-to-talk mics as well. So we'll bring all those options to council. We don't have the money in this in the budget right now. I've already told the reps that, but it's something that we can dream and discuss during the budget cycle time. Lastly, well repairs. So it is to my frustration, and I really don't care to have to bring this information. I like bringing good news, right? But we've got some bad news. Our wells that we just had repaired and that have only been up and running for 1 month have failed us. So both Westridge and Friendly Oaks wells are now down. I'll just mention my comments on this one. It seems very coincidental that we've had 6 pumps go out within the last quarter, and all of them have been within a certain electrical provider's jurisdiction. Everything seems to point to some sort of electrical failure here. So While we were already in the efforts of planning to get with electrical engineer here and see how we can better protect ourselves, this has become priority number one. We're going to be doing everything we can to not only just get these wells back into service, but to do so with plenty of protection and to bring council plenty of options and quotes to get these upgraded and protected, because it's pretty expensive to pull, diagnose, and install the pumps. Where we're at with this right now, I have, at council's direction, I have been authorized to go ahead and pull the pumps, get diagnosis on what actually happened, and then we're going to be submitting the Friendly Oak ones for warranty. No guarantee that will actually be covered by warranty. Maybe not, because they're probably going to push it back on us and say it was an issue with our electrical system, right? But it also looks like maybe, and correct me if things have changed on this one, Gene, but the Westridge site might have been struck by lightning, but that's
what the electrician said possibly, but
All
we'll
within 3
have a
days.
gravel
they check.
meeting Tuesday with Chris Brower from Jefferson, the ones that installed it. So hopefully we can get more answers then from them on what will take place.
okay. And do we have a date scheduled yet for the pump pulling? Not yet? Okay.
He said it's back up, but he's gonna do some shuffling around, and when he pulls Friendly Oaks, when they leave there, they're going to Westridge.
Okay.
Both gonna be pulled the same day.
Same day. Good to go. Okay. So yeah, just so everybody knows, these wells are probably going to be down till May, and we're going to be buying from Blue Bonnet, which is going to see an increase in our monthly cost there. But we want to get this done right. We want to get all the protection that we need before we get these wells back in. And so
And that's city cost, not customers, right?
that's right. Yeah, this
Yeah.
isn't going to
It's just
directly
city
affect
cost,
it.
not customers.
We've properly prepared for issues like this, as unfortunate as they are. And with that, I'll answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions for Kent? Okay, yes, Ms. Wiggins?
On the credit card processing fee, I've been asked, is that the same amount for all customers, or is it based on the amount of your bill?
It is based on the amount of your bill. Previously, it was a tiered structure where it was about, I think it was $3 and something per 100. Right now, it's just that flat percentage rate per your bill.
Per bill.
Yes, ma'am.
Per bill.
So
Yeah. Yeah, 3%, isn't it?
3% of your bill?
Yeah,
Well, yeah, like 325 or something.
yeah. But it's, whether it's $1 or $1,000, it's still the same percentage.
So that can amount to more than what it previously was, I guess, for somebody who's under.
So,
Depending.
yes, that would be true on some of the lower end ones. Yes, ma'am. But as far as the higher ones and our average ones, the ones that we calculated out, it should be lower. I don't remember the percentage off the top of my head, though.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Kent. Okay, number 13, consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda will be considered by the city council and will be enacted on by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or a member of the public so request. And the number A, it says approval of the minutes for February of 2023, financial for February of 23, the financial report for the general and water and sewer fund, and it's also for the February 2023 accounts payable for the general water and sewer fund. And C, request to attend conference, that's our city administrator, council to discuss and consider probably take action to approve the city administrator to attend the Texas City Managers Association Annual Conference, June 9/11 in Allen, Texas. So all of those can be put together, Councilman. And so at this time, are there any requests to remove one of the items on the consent agenda for individual consideration?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Wiggins,
13A.
13A,
Yes, ma'am.
okay?
Do I need to go ahead and say why now?
You could say why, or
You
you
wanna
don't
pull
have
it?
to say why at all. No, sir.
Okay.
Okay, so, anybody else? We're going to be pulling, the agenda approval of the minutes, number A. Anything else? Okay, so we can take action on, B and C.
Yes,
So-
ma'am, and we'll take a motion on that one all together. So
Yep.
to approve B and C, and then after this one, we'll go right into 13A.
A, yeah.
Okay.
So do I have a motion to, Mr. Wiggins?
I'll make a motion to approve consent items B, the finances, and C.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay.
I'll second.
Mr. McGruer?
I'll second that.
Okay. All right, all in favor? Unanimous, thank you, gentlemen. Okay, approval of minutes. Council will discuss, consider, and possibly take action to approve the minutes from the February 2023 City Council meeting and the March 8 of 2023 special called council meeting. Mr. Wiggins?
Yes, it's minor, but it still needs to be corrected.
Okay,
Under the minutes for the February, the 2020, for the February 23rd, 2023 minutes, item 1, where it says council member absent, currently it says Richard Prater and Cecil Griffin was absent for some of the meetings. It's kind of confusing, so I think to clarify that, make it clear, after Richard Prater, put a semicolon and then strike through the word and. And then it's clear that Mr. Prater was absent and that Mr. Griffin was absent for some of the meeting.
okay,
I mean, that's all.
all right, okay. All in
If I can
favor?
make a
Oh,
motion
make
for that.
make a motion for that?
Yeah, to
Okay.
amend it like the
All right,
the
to amend it?
February.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Mr.
I'll
McGruer
second that.
seconded? Yeah, Mr. Wiggins?
No.
Oh, all in favor? Unanimous, okay?
Yeah,
We'll put a semicolon after Prater and put a strike and out.
Yes, and
February the
the other
23rd.
minutes were fine.
Fine, okay?
Yes.
All right, good.
That's all.
All right. Okay, number 14, request to attend a conference. Council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action to approve the mayor to attend the Texas Municipal League's Small Town Conference, May the 11th-12 in Bastrop, Texas. Okay, Mr. Manton, you want to talk about that one since you brought that to my attention to do this?
Sure, sure. I thought it advantageous to send the mayor out and do a little bit of networking, but mostly, spend some time learning about some issues that are specific to small towns. There's not a whole lot of opportunities for training for folks in our position. There are relevant issues to cities that are less than 5,000 general law A cities. So what we're requesting here is to send the mayor to about a day-and-a-half long conference hosted by Texas Municipal League. It would be in Bastrop. The agenda has been included in your packet, so you can see some of the courses and breakout sessions that are included. Registration cost is $235, and it would come out of the administration budget line item for training. The mayor does plan on commuting each day, so no hotel costs with this one
Not that
either.
far.
And then the meals would be provided with the conference registration fee. So our recommendation here is to approve.
Councilman Wiggins?
I'll make a motion to approve that mayor attend this conference, TML conference, on May the 11th through the 12th in Bastrop, Texas.
Okay, we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Councilman McGruer seconded. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen. I'll try to listen well and take notes and record it and everything. Okay, number 15, establishment of community to develop proposed FY 2023-2024 budget. Council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action on the establishment of a committee to meet on an as-needed basis to develop a proposed budget for fiscal year 2023-2024.
All right, so we're getting a little bit of a head start than we normally do, but I would really like to go ahead and get a committee established on the early end so we can begin brainstorming, we can begin planning, talking about some of those bigger picture items that we'd like to see play out over the next fiscal year. So recommended membership here comprised similar to what we had last year and years previous: the mayor, city administrator, city secretary, finance director, 2 council members, and then maybe this time 1 or 2 citizens. But this is at council's discretion, so I'll leave it up to you to discuss.
Okay, can I make a motion? Can I say something about that?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'd like to keep Mr. Wiggins. He's very good at the financial part, and he's been doing good for the last several years on the financial aid, so I'd like to keep him if possible on that. And anybody else? Mr. Griffin served on it last time, but his health right now, I'm not sure if that's what he still wants to do. So if y'all have a recommendation of someone else or even Mr. Griffin again, so I'm going to leave it up to you guys. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Anybody? Okay, Councilman Bass?
I move that we approve the committee to develop a proposed fiscal year 2023-2024 budget consisting of consisting of the mayor, city administrator, city secretary, finance director, and Mr. Wiggins and Mr. Griffin, and then 1 or 2 citizens that y'all would have to choose to be on that committee.
So you're recommending that the budget committee, as you're recommending it, pick the citizens, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have a second? Mr. McGurr seconds that.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Unanimous, okay. I start saying you're going to vote for yourself, aren't you there, Mr. Wiggins? Okay. All right. Number 16. Sanitary sewer system. Ordinance authorizing insurance of certification of obligation. Council to discuss, consider, and probably take action on ordinance 3-23-2023-2, authorizing the insurance of a combination tax and revenue certification of obligations to a maximum principal amount of $5,861,000 for the purpose of constructing a sanitary sewer system, including all necessary components such as wastewater treatment plant and collection systems.
I have a question.
Okay, Councilman Bass?
Actually, we've already done this in the past, but I think the time run out and we have to redo it. That's all this amounts to.
Yes.
And this is for the actual loan amount from USDA, and
Yes.
that doesn't include the grant.
Yes.
So
that's true.
all we got to do more or less is renew what we've already
Yes,
done.
sir, it's a renewal. Yes, it is.
So I move that we approve it.
Okay. Councilman Bass made a motion that we renew our money, I guess, our grant, principal amount. Okay.
That ordinance number?
Ordinance number 3-23-2023-2. Okay,
I'll second that.
Okay, Wiggins seconds it. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay. All right. Number 17, ordinance adoption for social media and technology use policy. Council to discuss, consider, and probably take action on ordinance 3-23-2023-3 to adopt a social media and technology use policy, establishing rules pertaining to employees as well as elected and or appointed public officials, excluding employees of the City of Bruceville-Eddy Police Department who are regulated through an existing policy specified in their individual employment needs.
So this is an ordinance that basically includes those policies that council approved at our February meeting. It was requested that we actually codify this and put it in our code of ordinances. So I was able to create an ordinance combining those policies. And then I just also wanted to point out that I did include a section on cybersecurity as well, just to address some of the basic components of that. And I think that's all the comments that I had. I'll answer any questions you might have.
Do we have any questions? Do we have a motion? Mr. McGruer?
I move that we approve ordinance 3-23-2023-3 to adopt a social media and technology use policy.
I'll second that.
Okay, Mr. Wiggins? All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay. All right, number 18. Past due utility account collections. Council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action to review efforts by the city staff to collect certain past due utility accounts and approve the forwarding of certain past due utility accounts as well as the future past due utility accounts, that's a tongue twister, to our collection agency, MVBA, for further collection action.
So,
Mr. Bass?
Oh, go ahead, go
do
ahead.
you have a question, sir?
No, go ahead.
All right, so just to rehash here, this was from a list that we had at last session. This is the internal list that we let you know staff was currently working to get collected, thereby saving that 30% collection fee that comes into play when we send this to collections. Staff had given these folks till 3/15 to pay. We were successful, or Pam was successful, in getting some payments on several accounts and is currently working with a few others to get payment within the next 30 to 45 days. So what we're requesting tonight is to send this list to collections, but also any other accounts that we have that go past 90 days, we would also like the ability to just send those straight to collections. Now, this won't affect the write-offs that we're required to bring you once annually. So my recommendation here is to approve as worded in the agenda.
I
Okay,
got
Mr.
a
Bass,
question.
did you?
Oh, go ahead, Mr. Bass.
Oh, do you have a
No,
question?
No, he's got
Okay. Oh, got a question?
Yeah, it says certain past due bills, utility accounts. Wouldn't that be all? I mean, are we?
No, sir. So we're trying our best not to send any that we don't have to collections, because when the collection agency collects, they get all the money, or they're supposed to be getting all the money.
Okay.
And then we have to pay a 30% fee to them for all the work that they did in collecting that.
I was
So
just
if we can
wondering.
resolve it in-house
Yeah,
and,
what's all
and
we're
get all that money back, we most certainly will.
Okay.
Of course, this does not preclude all of our efforts to cut off water, to pull the water meter after a few months, if there's no non-payment. We are utilizing those tools as well.
All right. That's just a
Now,
question.
Mr. Bass, did you have something on
No,
that? You
no,
was
I
gonna
don't.
make a- Okay. Do we have a motion? Mr. Wiggins,
I
Councilman
make a
Wiggins?
motion that we approve item 18 as stated for the staff to collect certain past due utility accounts and approve the forwarding of certain past due utility accounts as well as all future past due utility accounts to our collection agency, MVBA, for further collection action.
Yes, sir. Okay, so we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Prater seconded. Okay, all in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, number 19. Agreement for general engineer services. Council to discuss, consider, and possibly take action to authorize the city administrator to enter into a general engineering service agreement with MRB Group as revised by city attorney.
Well, this is the last agenda item. You've almost made it. Here we are. Okay, so MRB Group, council made the direction at the last council meeting to send this to our city attorneys. City attorneys did complete the review. We sent it back over to MRB. They made some changes. Council should be aware that our attorneys did ask for a little bit more insurance than MRB Group was willing and able to give. They said their standard amounts, I think, were spelled out. I don't remember those off the top of my head, but they're spelled out in that agreement. They said any more issuances of insurance would be at our cost. Also on this one, it should be noted that MRB Group did forget to send in Section L. This was requested by our attorneys. It basically just further states that this is not an exclusive agreement. We can work with other engineering firms if we need to. So my recommendation here would be to approve contingent upon the addition of Section L. And Tony said that he can get that added tomorrow.
Okay,
Tony,
Councilman
is that
Bass?
Tony, is he with MRB?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Councilman Bass, you have a question?
No, I have a motion.
Okay. What's your motion, sir?
I move to authorize the city administrator to enter into a general engineering service agreement with MRB Group. At the last meeting, we more or less approved it, but we did want the city attorney to review it, which he did, so therefore I make the motion to approve it.
Okay. Okay, get a little closer and say that
Oh.
again.
With that
Okay.
amendment,
With the amendment for L.
Okay. I move that we authorize the city administrator to enter into a general engineering services agreement with MRB Group as revised by our city attorney, which adds Section L.
Okay, now, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Mr. Wiggins has a second. Now, before we take a vote, I have a question on the floor.
Will they be replacing Tabor with exception of Tabor's work on the sewer system?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Yeah. He'll still be the sewer, and that's all.
Okay, all in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, number 20.
I'll move we adjourn.
Mr. Bass makes a motion that we adjourn. Mr. McGruer seconds that. All in favor? Unanimous.
Actually, we've gone too far, with Tabor. We can't
It
change
is
horses.
7:38 and this meeting is now closed.
Otherwise,
Please turn off your mics.